Ricky, welcome back. Welcome back to the Success Framework. Today we are going to focus on the business model. So we've done a great job setting the direction for your business. We've started the work for defining your brand. Hopefully you've completed your homework. And now what we're going to do is set up the business model. This is super easy, practical way of developing a bit of a model for what your business is. It helps you clarify what opportunities you have to improve. It's pretty practical, it's fluid, it's visible, it enables scaling. If I'm creating a pipeline to sell people onto this product, normally what I'll do is values and the business model. Doing those two activities are key for getting tons of value really quickly. In fact, some of you have probably already done part of either these two if you've done the program, and obviously what got you here. Regardless, I'm still going to lead you through the business model, whether you've done it or not, because it is one of the most practical tools for understanding how your business operates. It becomes very useful for identifying gaps and areas to improve, and it's really useful for onboarding people and communicating what your business does and how it does it. So, like I said, the whole idea of creating a strategy on a page, you might have heard the term lean canvas. You definitely will have heard the term business model canvas. All super useful tools in visualizing your business. The key elements that I'm going to introduce you to today are, among other things, we're going to look at your key partners. We're going to look at key activities, key resources, value proposition, customer relationships, channels, customer segments, cost structure, and revenue streams. And all of this, super simple, just goes onto a page. Once you do the initial analysis and research and writing, you also have your template, which you can use. Obviously, it's going to reflect some of the stuff we're going on. You'll see the business model canvas on there, which we'll use. You might need to use a couple of copies over time, but I think you'll get it pretty quick. I think I love this quote. Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So by us starting with your direction, your values, your legacy, vision and purpose, we then have a solid foundation to build our business strategy on. And now a business strategy, if you just have your direction and you communicate that, at least everyone's pointing in the same place. If you take the next level down and do work like we're about to do and create a business model, you now have a map of your business, a map of your world. Allows you to communicate it a bit more, get a bit more clarity, help bring people on the journey. If all you ever do is set a tactical goal for the next 3 months, set some 12-month goals based on the work people have always done, it doesn't really drive you anywhere. It's not aligned to anything. It doesn't have north. Your compass can't point anywhere. And so this sums up the why I do all the success framework stuff, is so that whatever element of the success framework you've done, you at least have a part of a strategy taking you to victory, as opposed to just doing tactics and surviving like most people do. Now, the business model canvas is not unique to me. It is not my intellectual property. There is a Creative Commons license to share and communicate and talk about and use this. If you were to go to strategizer.com, you'd be able to find the business model canvas, you'll find the value proposition canvas, and a whole bunch of amazing resources and tools. I absolutely suggest you go and use it, go and look at it, play with it. It is absolutely a fundamental part of creating a great strategy. To my frustration, my personal frustration, when I did this, I got it. It made total sense. I really loved it. But then where were the values? Where was the purpose? Where's the vision? Where's the brand? hang on, oh, we also need to do goals. How do I make sure my goals are traceable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's one piece of the puzzle in the context of the success framework, and an amazingly useful business tool as well. So all credit where credit's due. Strategizer, go check them out. Use their content, pay them money, give them attention, they're worth it. What does the business model canvas communicate? Well, on the left, you will see feasibility. So this is about your key partners, key activities, and key resources that you need to deliver your value proposition. Your value proposition is all about desirability. So the types of customer relationships you need, the channels, and the customer segments you're serving. Do you have the people, process, and technology to deliver some value to the market? And does the market care enough to want to consume and use it? And then viability is all about cost and revenue. So it might be feasible, but if it's not desirable, why are you doing it? If it's desirable, but you don't have the resources or capital to do it, can't do it. If no one's willing to pay for it, there's no point. So getting these three things clear, super, super useful. Taking your business as it is right now, mapping it out, going to get really clear on what it is that makes your business feasible, desirable, and viable. Like we've talked previously, at this stage, you're likely a founder, an MD, senior leader. You've built something successful. People want what you've got. It's just not on paper yet or not clear enough. This is the first step to making it really clear. Now, what's important about this is you are going to identify wastage and things you shouldn't be doing or things that you aren't doing. And so that's what's brilliant about it. For anyone that is like early stage startup, like you've had a great idea, you're going to take this great idea to the market and you're going to do it. And maybe you're a little bit like me and have created Rob's Odd Jobs or created the Man Pack and did the shortest and littlest amount of research and then just gone and invested money. Not saying I spent $20,000 on a bunch of product that no one wanted. I definitely didn't do that. With that in mind, if I had have done this, just this, the business model canvas, I would have found out really quickly that it wasn't feasible, viable, or desirable, which hurts to say, but reinforces the value of doing something like this. I probably wouldn't have valued it as much if I didn't spend 20 grand on a crap product. So what are the elements? You might want to use this section that I'm about to go through multiple times. So take note that we're about to go into each business model canvas element, and I'm going to pre-teach it. Then you're going to go into the activities. The workbook that I've given you, it doesn't have these definitions in it. So, definitely consider coming back to this section, follow along for now, understand it, and then you can come back here if you need to. So the first part of the business model canvas are the key partners. And so these are people that help you deliver value to customers. So motivations for partnerships are things like the ability to optimize and improve the economy of your business. So instead of building a video recording capability in your business so you can produce online content, maybe you create a partnership with a local videographer or a local individual that's starting up. The other reason for partners is reduction of risk and uncertainty. So you've just started a startup, it's made progress. Maybe you're in year 3 of a training organization, but you don't have a HR capability. So maybe you outsource that to a partner to ensure you have that risk management capability within your business. And then obviously partnerships are for the acquisition of resources and delivery of activities. So, most of us will have used Fiverr or Udemy or places like that. Maybe you've used contractors, consultants. Where you don't have the skill in-house, you acquire a partner to help deliver it. The types of questions you might ask when developing your business model canvas is, what are your key partners and suppliers? Which key resources do you acquire from partners? Legal officer, things like that. Which key activities do partners perform for you? And this is where, not now, but in a bit, you can use the template to do that. The next section is key activities. And so these are the types of things that you're doing daily, weekly, monthly with consistency that help you deliver value to your customers. And so this could include production. So it could be the production of a product. It could be problem solving if you're in a service-based business, platform growth. So it could be about growing your business's platform. It could be about networking. Maybe a critical part of your business is ongoing and consistent networking. There might be a whole range of others. And the things that you want to consider when looking at your activities are, what are the key activities does your value proposition require? We'll talk about value proposition in a minute. Essentially, think value delivery, the thing you're giving to people or selling to people. How does it relate to your distribution channels? What do you have to build on? What do you have to do to build and maintain customer relationships? And what do you have to do to ensure you have revenue streams? These are the things you want to consider and write out. The next one we look at is key resources. And so what are the key resources you need to be able to deliver your value proposition to the market? And so these are things like physical, so like a physical building that you're working from, intellectual, like intellectual property, video recordings, PDFs, content, copyrights. It could be data, systems, processes. It could be human resources, so the types of people that you bring into the business versus the partners that you have. And it could be financial resources. Maybe there's a financial mechanism you need to be able to deliver your value proposition. Maybe you're in recruitment or something, and so you have a cash flow that is driven cyclically. Whatever the key resources you need to help deliver your value proposition to your customer. The types of questions you would ask yourself and consider are, what are the key resources I need to be able to deliver value, to be able to access distribution channels, to build and maintain customer relationships, to manage revenue streams. These are all the types of things that you want to consider as you're building out that section of the business model. Next, in the center, you'll cover off value proposition. And so the characteristics of your value proposition are things like newness and performance, customization, getting the job done. So maybe there's something new and innovative about how you're doing something in your industry. Maybe it's something to do with status. So maybe you help improve someone's status through helping deliver your value to those people. Maybe your value proposition is cost reduction or risk reduction. I know in the consulting industry, we often talk about the big four as key risk reducers for government. Maybe your value proposition relates to accessibility, convenience, and usability. So maybe it's really easy to use, really easy service to consume, really easy product to consume. All of these things are what you want to consider. And so the question you ask yourself is, what value deliver to your customers? And which one of your customers' problems are you helping solve? You might also ask, which customer needs are you satisfying? You could also consider, what bundles of products and services are you offering to each different customer segment? And it's about at this point where you'll see you might have to jump around to different parts of the business model canvas to start really building out each element. This is definitely not a sequential question activity. This is a produce your business model canvas on a whiteboard, on your paper, piece by piece, jumping around. The next piece is customer relationships. So the types of relationships your customers want to have with the business. Some people prioritize personal assistance. They're expecting that one-on-one connection with you. Sometimes it's about having a dedicated person, account management, sales account manager, those types of things. Maybe it's self-service. They never want to interact with you at all. They just want to go to a website, click a button, buy the thing. Maybe they expect communities. I mean, Alex Hormozi, he's been all over socials at the moment talking about his school games and creating communities that interact with products and services. Or maybe it's co-creation. So they want you to be on site with them, bring your knowledge and expertise, and build the thing together. And so when we're talking about customer relationships, you ask the question, what types of relationships does each of your customer segments expect that you establish with them? What are the relationships you've established with people? How are they integrated with the rest of your business model? Are they costly? Are they cheap? Are they easy? Costly in the context of money, but also time. Maybe your cheapest client costs the most amount of time and effort and energy to acquire them. And so, again, that's an example of costliness. The next section of the business model canvas is the channels. And so all channels is the way in which you can access your customer segment. So you have a value proposition, you want to get it to people. What are the channels you can take? Within the channels, we consider these different phases. Awareness, how do you raise awareness about your products and services? Evaluation, how do you help your customers evaluate your value proposition? Purchase, how do you allow customers to purchase specific products and services? Delivery, how do you deliver value propositions to customers? After sales, how do you provide post-purchase customer support? And then obviously underpinning all of this, which are the channels you're using to reach people throughout this phases? And so the types of questions you might ask, through which channels do your customer segments want to be reached? Do they want to do online training like what we're doing right now? Do they prefer a personal phone call and understanding their business and do something remotely via video conference? Maybe they want me to come in and do something face to face. And so all of these things matter as far as what are your channels. And then you want to think about how are you reaching them right now? How are your channels integrated with your business? So are you as the founder the only one that has access to the social accounts, for example? Maybe the website, maybe you're the only one that can access Wix or WordPress. And then which of your channels works best? Which one are the most cost-efficient channels? And how are you integrating them with your customer routines? So if your customers are always interacting with you via your website on Fridays, how are you making sure all your social media marketing is pushing people to access your shop on Fridays, for example? These are the types of questions you ask. Next, customer segments. So the first kind of question you're asking yourself, are you focused on mass markets, so a big chunk of people, niche markets, a smaller group or subset of different groups, or a segmented market? So pieces of multiple markets that you're looking for, or a specific avatar customer profile within multiple markets. Once you get a sense of the markets that you're operating in, where you're focusing your attention, you can ask the question, for whom are you creating value? Who are your most important customers? And it's about giving them an identity, a name, a segment name. So it might be, I've said it enough times now, founders and business leaders in small, medium enterprises that have 7 to 15 staff and are highly successful, but built off founder grit. So founders is one of my customer segments. Federal government, do a bunch of work, federal government, or maybe it's large software related industries, whether it's recruiting or technology, that sort of thing. So getting clear on your different customer segments. Next couple of pieces, cost structure. Is your focus more cost driven, as in leanest cost structure, lowest price, value proposition, maximum automation, extensive outsourcing? So you're trying to limit the number of perms, maximize the amount of automation, etc., etc. Maybe you're value driven, focused on value creation, premium value proposition. So it's that I don't have an adage to share, but it's going from cheapest in market, race to the bottom, or top quality value driven process of business. Simple characteristics or sample characteristics, sorry, fixed costs. So you'll have insurance, loans, rents, utilities, software, all of that sort of stuff. And then your variable costs come into play, whether that's, maybe you're using contractors, maybe you've got to do some short-term development work, maybe you need a brand expert to come in and build out your visual imagery, visual design. They could be variable costs. And so all of these things considered, when you look at the cost structure section of your business model canvas, ask the questions: what are the most important costs inherent in your career, the business, the company? Which key resources are most expensive? Which key activities are most expensive? And what costs do you have to run your business life, the things that you're doing daily, weekly, monthly, yearly? Last piece of the business model canvas is revenue streams. So there's a range of types of revenue streams that you'll have. There could be asset sales, usage fees, subscription fees, lending, renting, leasing, licensing, brokerage fees, advertising, all that sort of stuff. You could have fixed pricing. So there might be a list price. There could be product feature dependent pricing, customer segment dependent, volume dependent, all of that sort of stuff. You could be doing outcomes-based work. You could be doing fixed price work. You could be doing hourly rate, time and materials. Dynamic pricing. So based on a negotiated outcome that you come up with your clients. And so all of these key revenue streams, you can ask questions like, for what value are your customers really willing to pay? What's the thing they consistently want to pay you for? What do they currently pay? Like literally how much? How are they currently paying? So how does money come into the business? Is it digital? Is it cash? Is it through Stripe or some other system? How would they prefer to pay? I've had clients that don't want to use Stripe and anything that gives any sort of money to a bank or institution. They just want to directly deposit it. How much does each revenue stream contribute to the overall revenues? So understanding all your different revenue streams and then the percentage each contributes to the total value of the business. And so that is the business model canvas, not quite in a nutshell. There was a bit of talking there, so I appreciate your attention and patience. And so now what we'll do is, that's the business model canvas. So you should have a better sense for it, and maybe you were looking at the workbook as I went through that, and you can sort of see how each section relates to each heading. And so now I think we're in a position where you can have a crack and do it yourself. And so again, activities, reflection, action. So the first part of the activities is this. I want you to pause and go back and review your brand, values, vision, legacy, and purpose. Complete a review of everything that we've completed so far. And in doing that review, the second part of the activity is to go to the business model canvas, and I want you to start with the value proposition. Think about what is the value you're creating for your customer. And once you complete the value proposition in the center, you can then move wherever your attention goes. And so this really is a pre-teach video that requires you to go off and do your homework and create your own version of the business model canvas. And so you start with the value proposition, being clear on your direction, where you're going, all that sort of stuff. And then you might go to key activities, key resources, key partners, wherever it is next. use this video to go back and be reminded of what each section is. And so just to close the loop on the activity, create a space for you to easily go back and be successful. Let me just get you set up. So if you're doing the activity, key partners, motivations for partnerships, ask the following questions. Once you've completed key partners, key activities, what are the core categories? These are the key activities questions. You then want to look at resources, types of resources, questions that you want to ask yourself. Value proposition itself, characteristics, and the questions for your value proposition. Your customer relationships, examples of those relationships, and the questions you want to ask yourself. Then you want to look at channels. What are the different phases? And then what are the questions you want to ask yourself? Customer segments, defining your customer segments, asking these questions. And then hopefully the easiest part is your cost structure, asking these questions, and your revenue streams, asking these questions. Doing all of that should give you your business model canvas all completed. And yeah, this is one where you might need some help and support. So I do understand that this one can take a bit of work. Often this is run as a workshop. Like I said, it's a lead-in product to this program. So there's a couple of things, like I use Lucid Charts to visualize this stuff. You can get yourself a membership. I have no affiliation or anything like it. The Strategizer guys have a product that you can use. And let me give you an example of how I do it. If you want to accelerate the development of any of this stuff, just reach out through any of the different channels that I provide for the Success Framework, and we can figure out a way to give you some help and show you what it's like. And so I'm just going to bring up an example of what this can look like, end state. Here we go. Is this it? Pause for excitement. Okay. Business model. Boom. And so I'm keeping it out for now. You don't necessarily need to see my cost structure and revenue streams, but what you can see here, and if I minimize that, do this, you can see key partners, key activities, key resources, value proposition, customer relationships, channels, customer segments. And so this is what it can look like. I like to use this tool. It makes sense to me. I think the workbook will do the job for you because it's also really damn clear. It just requires you to work and do some writing. And so with that in mind, we'll complete this section of the Success Framework. The next thing we are going to do together is we're going to have a look at value proposition. And so I'm really excited to go into value proposition with you next. Thank you so much for your attention and time, and rock and roll. I'll see you in the next session. Okie dokie. All right. See you soon.